Bienvenidas y bienvenidos a nuestra conferencia de clausura a cargo de Joyce Barnathan. Veremos a continuación una pequeña semblanza de nuestra conferencista e inmediatamente después los dejaremos con ella.
Joyce Barnathan es licenciada en estudios rusos y chinos, maestra en estudios asiáticos de la Universidad de Washington y maestra en periodismo de la Universidad de Missouri. Actualmente es la presidenta del Centro Internacional para Periodistas en Washington, en donde desarrolla y supervisa una amplia variedad de programas de alto impacto que combinan las mejores prácticas profesionales con las nuevas tecnologías.
Me encanta estar aquí en Guadalajara por este evento muy importante de comunicaciones y periodismo, porque soy reportera. No me gusta cometer errores gramáticos y por eso voy a hablar en inglés. Pero voy a practicar más y la próxima vez prometo que voy a hablar en español todo el tiempo. As I said, it's a pleasure to be here in Guadalajara at the TVMORFOSIS conference. Special thanks to Gabriel Torres for inviting me and for being such a great partner with the International Center for Journalists.
Con nosotros en el
Together,
Centro Internacional para
we
Periodistas.
helped develop
Juntos
the
nosotros
Digital
hemos ayudado
Journalism Center
a desarrollar
here
el
at the
Centro de
university,
Periodismo Digital
and
aquí
we
en esta
remain
universidad
proud
y
of
nos
ongoing
sentimos muy orgullosos
accomplishments.
de estos logros que se han alcanzado y se siguen
Today,
alcanzando.
I'd
Hoy,
like to talk
a mí me
about an
gustaría
important
hablarles de un
topic:
tema muy importante,
how media innovation
cómo
spreads
la
around
innovación
the world.
de los medios ahora se difumina por todo el mundo. Por lo general pensamos que las transferencias de tecnología solo se dan en una dirección, de los países del norte desarrollados a los países del sur que están en desarrollo. Y cuando nosotros rediseñamos nuestros programas para becarios periodistas dentro del programa Knight International, el cual promueve una cultura de innovación en las noticias, nosotros anticipamos que teníamos que ir personalizando esta tecnología que proviene de los Estados Unidos a la hora de difuminarla por todo el mundo, y lo estamos haciendo. Así es que nuestros becarios del Knight, algunos de los empresarios más talentosos de los medios, así como algunos periodistas, están aprovechando herramientas como tener documentos en la nube, hacer las tablas en Google Fusion, el Data Wrapper, que ahora ya pueden agregar a sus salas de redacción. Y los becarios ahora ya han fundado sus propios capítulos que abarcan Latinoamérica, África y el Medio Oriente. Y que son parte de este grupo que Estados Unidos se denomina Hackers. Hackers reúne a periodistas y también a ingenieros electrónicos para desarrollar nuevas aplicaciones o para resolver estos cuellos de botella que se forman en los medios. De hecho, el capítulo de mayor tamaño hoy se ubica en Argentina con 3.800 miembros. Y, sin embargo, está ocurriendo algo todavía más importante. Los becarios, que no son originarios de los Estados Unidos, han desarrollado ya sus propias herramientas innovadoras, así como servicios, y a través de la red del ICFJ están difuminando esto por todo el mundo. Algunos de los becarios más talentosos son provenientes de México. Juan Manuel Casanueva,
Jorge Luis Sierra
y Javier Garza.
Juan Manuel y Jorge
Luis se encuentran aquí hoy con nosotros, junto también con nuestro experto de Latinoamérica, que ustedes conocen muy bien, Luis Botello. Ahora, déjenme resaltar algunos ejemplos muy emocionantes de cómo esta innovación está llegando a todos los rincones del mundo.
Brazilian fellow Gustavo
Nuestro
Faleros
becario brasileño
developed
Gustavo
Info
Faleros
Amazonia
desarrolló Info
to
Amazonia
track environmental
para
problems
ir
in the 9-country
rastreando
Amazon
problemas
rainforest.
ambientales en esta región del
The
Amazonas, que incluye a 9
website
países.
uses
Y
satellite
a
feeds
partir
and other
de la
public
web
data
utiliza
to map
datos satelitales y
environmental
otros datos públicos para
degradation,
hacer mapas de la
making it
degradación
easy
ambiental,
for journalists
facilitando entonces
to
el trabajo
detect
a las
problems
periodistas
such
para
as
que ellos puedan
deforestation
detectar
and water
problemas como la
pollution.
deforestación y la contaminación del agua.
Now,
Ahora
Oxpeckers,
también está el grupo
a
Oxpeckers,
Southern African
que se
organization,
ubican como organización en
is
Sudáfrica.
using this
Ellos
technology
emplean esta misma
to track
tecnología
poachers
para encontrar
protected
cazadores
wildlife
furtivos y
regions.
proteger así la vida
Reporting on that
salvaje de sus
site
países.
has
Y
already stopped
el
an Asian
informar,
poaching
el
ring
dar noticias a través de
and
la
led
web
to
ya se
agreements
convirtió
on
en algo
poaching
normal y
between
ahora
African
entonces ya se
and
firmaron
Asian
acuerdos para
countries
evitar
that
caza
import
furtiva
ivory,
entre países
rhino
en
horns,
África
and
para
other
detener
spoils.
a aquellos cazadores que importan marfil, cuernos de rinoceronte y otras partes.
And an Indonesian environmental journalism group adapted Faleros technology to create Equatorial, a site that maps degradation of oceans, forest fires, and other problems in the fourth most populous country of the world. So just think about it. We've gone from Brazil to South Africa to Indonesia. Pretty amazing. In Eastern Europe, ICFJ and its partners have developed investigative reporting tools as part of the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project. The group can take credit for breaking major stories on illegal cross-border activities. Co-founder Paul Radu began developing an investigative dashboard when he was an ICFJ Knight Fellow. And you should pay attention to this dashboard. It allows journalists with very limited data skills to easily mine databases or seek help from data experts. You should definitely check it out. ICFJ also developed the Secure Reporter platform. It helps journalists share information across borders without fear of hackers backed by hostile drug lords or repressive governments gaining access to it. The investigative dashboard and the Secure Reporter are now in use in ICFJ's 8-country Latin American investigative reporting project. We've translated the tools into Spanish, and we've hired a data researcher to work with Latin American investigative reporters. I think you'll find it interesting to know that the story on Mexico's White House, which exposed potential conflicts of interest relating to the presidential family, was produced with the support of this investigative team. Here's another example of South-to-South collaboration. Our former Knight Fellow, Jorge Luis Sierra, who is now director of the Knight Fellowships program, launched a project using crowdsourcing to map threats and attacks against journalists here in Mexico. And I don't need to explain to this audience how important it is to protect journalists as they tackle tough issues such as drug trafficking. Our new Knight Fellow, Javier Garza, is continuing this work in Mexico. Now, Sierra developed a widely used online handbook in Spanish on digital security for journalists, which has also been translated into English and Arabic. Sierra then traveled to Iraq to provide digital security training to journalists in another dangerous country for reporters. When he showed them the Mexico map, Iraqi journalists asked Sierra to develop one for Iraq, and he did so on the spot. Sierra is training hundreds of Iraqis covering ethnic and religious violence on how to use this digital map called Tabir Iraq. So from Mexico to the Middle East. Another Knight Fellow, Miguel Paz of Chile, created Poderopedia, a platform that helps find links between business and political elites. It's now also in use in Venezuela and Colombia. And one investigation published by El Tiempo de Bogotá exposed that 62 of 102 Colombian senators had conflicts of interest for taking money from industries involved in regulation bills under discussion by Congress. Yet another example. Knight Fellow Shu Chowdhury's mobile news service in India brings reports by trained citizen journalists to poor and isolated tribal communities. For the very first time, local citizens are now able to get news in the local language. This service can take credit for more than 250 major changes resulting from these stories, from unpaid teachers getting their salaries restored to the arrest of wife abusers. Shu's mobile news service is expanding to other parts of India, and the technology developed is now in use in Mali and Somaliland. Now, for this work, Shu was just named one of the 100 leading global thinkers by prestigious Foreign Policy magazine. He also won the Index on Censorship's Digital Activism Award. And you know who he beat? He edged out Edward Snowden to win the award. Knight Fellow Justin Aronstein has started the Code for Africa movement. Developed in Kenya and expanded to South Africa, Ghana, and Nigeria, this movement embeds technologists in newsrooms to train journalists how to mine and visualize data for stories. They also help news organizations design mobile apps that expand access to news and make the news more interactive. Among the services developed in Kenya was Got to Vote. The technologists used government data to build a website that gave Kenyans information on how and where to register to vote. And surprise, it boosted voter participation in the 2013 presidential elections. And it's also been used successfully in elections in Zimbabwe and Malawi. Now, ICFJ is expanding the Code 4 movement to Latin America, led by Juan Manuel Casanueva, who I said is here. He is running a contest for Latin American news organizations. And those journalists with the most promising ideas will get a technologist embedded in their newsrooms to help develop deeper, more engaging coverage and tools. He's going to be working very closely with Knight Fellow Mariano Blechman in Buenos Aires. Blechman developed a tool called Hackdash. It's a free and open source platform, and it lets hackathon or other innovation gatherings keep track of new ideas and share them. It's in use now from Finland to Nepal, from the US to Uruguay. In other words, it represents south to north innovation. One final example. Chicas Poderosas. See, I heard that translation. A group founded by Knight Fellow Mariana Santos aims to get Latin American women involved in media technology. We all know how important technology is we all know how technology is transforming our business. But women are grossly underrepresented as news innovators or technologists. Chicas has already 700 members, and it held its first gathering in the United States last April. At these gatherings, women journalists team up with software engineers and visual artists to create digital projects to improve storytelling. And their goal is to give women the know-how to transfer these skills to their own newsrooms. And more Chicas gatherings are scheduled for next year for Latinas in the United States. Again, south to north innovation. It's tremendously exciting to see the spread of great tools, networks, and services in the name of quality journalism. And if you're interested in adopting these tools, please visit the International Journalist Network, ijnet.org, which routinely features the latest media trends in Spanish and 6 other languages. ICFJ is always looking for the best ideas, the best partners, and the best sponsors. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you very much for having me here today. It has been a great privilege.